So everyone will continue with our respiratory system. So as I have already told in last class, the important topics for your exams are pulmonary vascular disease, under which acute respiratory distress syndrome, that is ARDS, is important. Then pulmonary infections, under pulmonary infections, pneumonias are the most important. And under COPD, chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, these are the four entities which are important for you for exam purpose of view. These are chronic bronchitis, emphysema, bronchial asthma, and bronchiectasis. Then chronic restrictive lung disease, under which pneumoconiosis is important, and lung tumors. So we have discussed about lung tumors yesterday. So today we will discuss about pneumoconiosis and COPDs. So pneumoconiosis as a topic will come only for your theory exams. So it will usually, pneumoconiosis comes as a short note for you. So what is pneumoconiosis? Pneumoconiosis is a lung diseases. This is a group of lung diseases which occurs due to inhalation of dust, happens mostly at work. These are grouped under occupational diseases. So due to inhalation of dust at work, which leads to conditions or lung diseases which are collectively called as pneumoconiosis. So this dust are broadly divided into inorganic or mineral dust and organic or biological dust. So this dust are broadly divided into inorganic or mineral dust and organic or biological dust. Now what are the examples of mineral dust which causes pneumoconiosis? These are coal dust. Coal dust consists of anthracotic pigments. So the workers who work in coal mines, they present with a condition called as coal workers pneumoconiosis. The workers who work in quarries, sand quarries, or sand siltation factories, or factories related to marbles, granites, they are exposed to a dust called as silica. And this, when they exposed to this silica dust, they may present with a condition called as silicosis. Similarly, in asbestos industries, if they come in contact with asbestos, then they present with a condition called as asbestosis. Then there is a mineral called as beryllium. So industries where they use beryllium and the workers get exposed to this beryllium dust, then they can present with a condition called as berylliosis. Basically, important here is the names. You have to remember the names. Coal exposure to coal dust, it is called as coal workers pneumoconiosis. Exposure to silica, it is called as silicosis. Exposure to beryllium, it is called as berylliosis. Exposure to asbestos, it is called as asbestosis. Now one point which you have to remember in this is, asbestosis is the only condition where the patient may progress into lung carcinomas. Other conditions like coal workers pneumoconiosis, silicosis, berylliosis doesn't cause lung carcinomas. It is the asbestosis which causes lung carcinomas. So this is important from your MCQ point of view. Which of among the following, if the question comes, which among the following pneumoconiosis causes lung cancer, and your options are coal workers pneumoconiosis, silicosis, asbestosis, and berylliosis, your answer would be asbestosis. Okay. Then comes your organic or biological dust. So moldy hay is something called, these are fungus which are found in crops. So this, if people who works in the farms or in the fields, agricultural lands, they present with a condition called as farmer's lung. Then bagasse. What is bagasse? These are sugarcane fibers. We all drink sugarcane's juice, and whatever is left behind that sugarcane, that solid material or the sugarcane products which is left after taking out the juice is called as bagasse. And if they are exposed to this bagasse, it is called as bagasosis. So an exposure to cotton, the workers who work in cotton industries, and if they exposed to cotton fibers, fine cotton fibers, they may present with what is called as bicynosis. So these are certain names. Basically in pneumoconiosis, you have to know the definition of pneumoconiosis and what are the different examples of pneumoconiosis. So pneumoconiosis is kind of a theory question for you. Sometimes they may ask in Viva also, name some condition, what is pneumoconiosis, and give some examples of pneumoconiosis. They may ask in Viva also, but it is more important from theory point of view. So this much about pneumoconiosis. If you remember this much about pneumoconiosis, it's enough for you. Now another important topic which is asked both in Viva and theory. And if somebody has to ask me that which is the only topic if I have to read from respiratory system for exam, because I don't have time, because it may happen like that, then this has to be COPDs. You cannot skip respiratory system without knowing COPDs. You can, if you suppose just before the exam day you don't have time to read, then at least read about COPDs, which you cannot skip. You can skip every other thing, although other things are also important, but COPDs is something which you cannot skip respiratory system without reading. So COPDs is chronic obstructive pulmonary disease. This is the broad heading, and under this comes 4 entities: chronic bronchitis, emphysema, bronchial asthma, and bronchiectasis. So these are the 4 conditions which you have to remember, that these are the 4 conditions which comes under COPDs, and for every condition you have to know this specific subheadings, that is definition of each of these diseases. There is a specific definition for each of these diseases which you please read from your Robbins, which I will not be telling you here in this revision class. Definitions are given in Robbins. I will not say that you have to mug up these definitions, but at least when reproducing in Viva or in your theory papers, at least it should make sense. It should sound similar to that definition. There are certain keywords in that definition. You need to stick to that. Those definitions are very self-explanatory. I need not explain it to you. You have to read it for yourself to understand. There is a specific definition for chronic bronchitis, for emphysema, for bronchial asthma, and for bronchiectasis. Please read it from Robbins. They have given very nicely, and those definitions are very self-explanatory. Other than the definition, another thing which you have to remember is etiopathogenesis. Like what is the etiological factors, what are the causes which can cause this disease, as well as how this etiologies makes these diseases happen. What is the pathogenetic mechanism underlying this disease? So that also is very simple. Most of them will have smoking as one of the etiology, and how smoking causes these diseases. And there are other causes also which are given in books in heading wise. Please read it, those from books. And of course clinical features. Most of them, the clinical features are very similar. In fact, the clinical features of these COPDs overlap with each other. That's why this conditions has been grouped under one broad heading, that is chronic obstructive pulmonary disease or COPDs, because their clinical features are very similar. So basically you have to know definition of these conditions, etiopathogenesis of this condition, and the clinical features of this condition. Because if you know these 3 things, then if somebody asks you a short note or in Viva, then you can write them in under these 3 headings. If a short note comes on bronchial asthma, write the definition, then etiopathogenesis heading, second heading, and third heading clinical features. In pathology, that is more than sufficient. We don't go into treatment part, so no need to write any treatment in pathology answers. So in pathology, whenever you answer a pathology questions, or then we expect at least the definition, how you define that disease, what are the causes of the disease, etiology or etiopathogenesis of the disease, and what are the clinical, how the patients of this disease will present to you, what are the common presentations. So we expect only this much from your answer. So while reading, Robbins may give so many things, you may not go at so many things, you may not you may not go into the details of everything. Just read each entity under these three broad headings. Okay. Now, if you have to ask under the COPDs, which is the most important disease which you have to read, then I will say it is emphysema. Emphysema is the most important topic, which is, from your exam point of view, this is the most important topic out of the 4 conditions under COPD. So emphysema you have to read. So emphysema, again, you have to read the definition, etiopathogenesis and clinical features. But one extra thing which you have to read in emphysema is the classification of emphysema. Classification of emphysema, you have to read something extra. Similarly, in bronchiectasis also, if you see, there is different types of bronchiectasis depending on the microscopic features which you may go through from your books. But classification of emphysema is very, very important. That itself comes as a question, like types of emphysema or classification of emphysema may come as a 2-mark question for you. So while reading emphysema, please read the classification of emphysema. That is one of the most favorite questions for the examiners. Now, what are the types of emphysema? These are the different types of or classification of emphysema. Number one is centri-acinar or centrilobular. What does it means? Usually in emphysema, what happens? There is dilatation of the acini or acinus. You know, lung has acinus. So those acini or acinus, they get dilated in emphysema, permanently dilated. So if the central portion of the acinus is dilated, it is called as centri-acinar emphysema. Then there is second type classification is pan-acinar or pan-lobular emphysema. When the whole of the acinus or acini is dilated, it is called as pan-acinar emphysema. Then third type is paraseptal or distal acinar. Paraseptal or distal acinar means when the distal portion of the acini is dilated, it is called as distal acinar. It has another name called as paraseptal emphysema also. In centri-acinar, that is the first type, it is the proximal or the central part of the acinus is dilated. Proximal or central part. Pan-acinar, whole, both distal and proximal, whole of the acini is dilated. In distal acinar or paraseptal, it is the distal part of the acinus which is dilated. Irregular or parasymmetrical is when the dilatation is irregular, like it has no kind of pattern, proximal, distal, central, it just irregularly dilated, and usually this dilatation happens around a scar, already scar. That's why it is called as irregular emphysema or parasymmetrical. Parasymmetrical means surrounding a scar, surrounding a cicatrix, that is a scar. What cicatrical means? Scar. So that is called as irregular or parasymmetrical emphysema. And then there is a fifth type called as mixed, which is mix of everything. It is a mix. It could be a mix of centri-acinar and pan-acinar or some kind of mixture which you cannot define properly. So this is the classification of emphysema which you have to know. So basically, among whole of your respiratory system, the most important topic, if I have to tell you, then it is COPDs. And among the COPDs, if the most important topic which you have to read, it is emphysema. Emphysema, you have to read at least the definition, classification, etiopathogenesis, and your clinical features. So COPD is the most important topic in respiratory system, which you have to know, which you must know basically. You have to know which are the entities under COPDs, 4 entities, and you have to know the definition of each entity. I will not say you mug up the definition, I will say you understand the definition and reproduce it in your own language. More than sufficient, you will get marks. Etiopathogenesis of each of these entities and clinical features of each of these entities. Clinical features, most of them will have similar clinical features, so that won't be a problem. Extra thing which you have to know about it is the classification of emphysema. That I have told you, there are 5 types: centriacina, panacina, paraseptal, irregular or paracicatrical, and mixed. This you have to know. And please go through, there is a type of bronchiectasis also, which usually they don't ask, but for your knowledge purpose, you can go through it. If you can add in your answers the types, then it is more than good for you. So this is for today's class. So in next class, I will discuss about the pneumonias, the important pneumonias, and ARDS in short. So basically in respiratory system, you have to know this much. So we have discussed about your lung tumors, pneumoconiosis, you have to know the definition, that is occupational diseases and the examples of this, like which one causes which disease, the names you have to know basically. These are the names: coal dust, coal workers pneumoconiosis, silica, silicosis, asbestos, asbestosis, beryllium, berylliosis, moldy hay, farmer's lung, bagaceae, bagasosis, cotton, byssinosis. Many a times they give MCQ type of question from here, like bagasosis is a disease due to exposure to which of the following. So this kind of question sometimes they ask in MCQ, but then as a short note you have to know what is the pneumoconiosis. This is a lung disease due to inhalation of dust, mostly at work, and examples with names. And in COPDs you have to know these 4 entities, definition of each of them, etiopathogenesis and clinical features. You just go through, you need not go through all what is given in the books, because that would be impossible for you to remember. An extra thing which you have to learn is emphysema classification, that you have to know, because that is something, one of the most asked question from respiratory system. Okay, so this is for today's class, and next class I will just discuss little bit about pneumonia and ARDS. So that will cover up your whole respiratory system. Okay.